Hey guys, welcome back to my channel again. If you haven't seen any of my videos before or come across me on social media, my name's Katie. I'm a personal trainer and nutritionist living in London at the moment, but that is soon to change. Watch this space. And I have a real love for fitness and feeling healthy, fit and happy, and I believe that everyone should be able to experience that. That's why I've decided to make a YouTube channel, so I can reach more people than just my clients and hopefully inspire them to change their lifestyles for the better. Today was a requested video. Somebody wanted to know how I got started on my fitness journey. My fitness journey started, I've always been very... My fitness journey starts at the age of around, I would say 10. I started dance classes at my local dance school. I started there just once a week going to jazz dancing, and over the years I got more and more passionate about it. I ended up doing it every night after school right up until I was 16. Then I decided that that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I wanted to make a career in dancing, so I set about applying to dance colleges, which is like a professional full-time 3-year course. This is where I guess my inner stubbornness kicked in. Like, from being really young, I've always been so inflexible. Like, I couldn't sit cross-legged in assembly because my hips were so tight. I had to kneel and I couldn't touch my toes. And my dance teacher said I wouldn't get into college because I didn't have the flexibility. And me being as stubborn as I was, I went against that, and I applied to 4 dance colleges and got into 3. So with the dance, I mentioned that there is singing and acting. Although I wasn't that into it at the time, I had quite a natural flair for acting, which I didn't realise, and I could sing in tune. So I think that probably helped to get me in, because my lack of mobility definitely affected kind of ballet and things like that, all the technical dances. So I ended up getting into 3 out of 4. I worked my butt off with the stretching and stuff. I think by the time I went to college, I could touch my toes and sit cross-legged, which for me was really good. Whilst I was at college, this is a very intense atmosphere with so I was there from 8 AM till 6 PM, 5 days a week. This isn't like university at all. And most of it is physical. And obviously in that industry, image is so prevalent, it's so important, and that kind of, I found, caused a lot of confidence issues, not only with myself but other peers as well. So for instance, we were meant to wear makeup to every lesson. I understand look good, feel good, also to present yourself as a professional. I understand why they did it. But by the time I left college, I found it very hard to step out of the house without a full face of makeup on, which from before me going to college, I never really wore it anyway. So that's a drastic change just there. And obviously you're dancing, looking at yourself in the mirror all day. And because you're spending so much time watching yourself, it's so easy to just pick yourself apart. If you're looking at yourself in the mirror like 5 to 8 hours a day, you will pick and pull. It's just like, it's really unhealthy. My main body issues at the time was I had a belly and a flat bum. And at times, I used to joke about it, but my belly was bigger than my bum. It stuck out more than my bum if I faced the side. I have this vivid memory of one of my dance teachers saying to me, I think we were wearing crop tops, so we could see how our bodies were moving and how we looked. And I'll always remember we were doing a warm-up, and it was quite a cardio warm-up, just jogging on the spot pretty much. And I'll always remember him saying, "Katie, pull your gut in." And when I think of gut, I think of like a 40-year-old man with a saggy beer belly. Yeah, it just made me feel so self-conscious. So throughout my time at college, diet. Let's talk about the diet. Because naturally, I have a very good metabolism. I'm really lucky with that. I've got good genes. No one in my family is particularly overweight. I find it very easy to maintain my weight, and equally, if I put myself in a deficit, I can drop weight very easily. I fully took advantage of that. I used to eat crap. I'd have 3 Mars bars for lunch. I'd live off jacket potatoes, cereal. I'd have 4 bowls of cereal with sugar on for tea on a night. It was just, looking back, I feel like I would have been shredded for one if I was eating really well. And I always used to struggle with my energy as well. I'd sleep for 10 hours a night, wake up in the morning exhausted, wondering why I was tired. It was because I was eating crap. I didn't dislike healthy food. My excuse was that I didn't have a lot of money for my spending, because I used to work during the holidays, and then that money would then be my living money during the term. And my excuse was that I didn't have enough money to spend on decent food, which now I know is a load of crap, because it's so easy to buy healthy food on a budget. And with that as well, I guess I binged a lot as well. I had no self-control. And then this leads me to my first, I guess, round of binging and restricting. I'd binge for a couple of weeks, and then we'd have a showcase, or the end of year show would come up, or a fashion show or something like that, and I'd be like, right, I need to get rid of this gut. And so for a week maybe, I'd eat really well, and then I'd just crave stuff so much, and I'd stop myself from having anything that I wanted, that then I'd just go mental and just damage all my progress. So I was like this the whole time. I mean, my weight never fluctuated that much, but I was definitely bigger than I am now. So after I graduated from dance college, I moved to London with a couple of my friends, and that's where things got really stale and stagnant for me. I was really driven with my career, and I was determined that I was going to make it in this industry where everyone said it was really, really hard. I was putting in the work, I was going to auditions, and then on the weekends I was working, the way I was making my money, I was working in bars selling Jaeger bombs on a weekend in the West End clubs. And it just I absolutely hated this job. It was amazing money, cash in hand. And I was making a good amount of money in 2 nights work that most people would make in a week, working 40 hours. So it was enabling me to be free for my auditions. But I absolutely hated it. Like, I would dread it for the whole week. As soon as Sunday came, oh, I've got to go to work on Friday. Also, my grandma was really ill at the time, just from old age. She was in and out of hospital a lot. I just got a little bit down, really. London can be an incredibly lonely city when you first move to it. Once you settle down and you've made some friends, it's fine, but when you first move, even though I was with housemates, it's very easy to feel isolated and lonely. I used to spend a lot of time sat in front of the telly, literally days. I wouldn't get dressed, I'd sit in front of the telly. I'd go to Iceland, which was across the road from my house, buy a load of shit. I'd buy the £1 meals, and then a load of, you know, chocolate and crisps and stuff on top, and I'd just sit and eat and watch telly and feel like shit until I had to go to work again. That lasted probably about a good 6 months. I was pretty down by the end of it. And then one day, I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but I'd recently got an iPhone. It was probably about 4 years ago now. 4.5 years ago. I'd recently got an iPhone, and I'd never had an iPhone before, and I downloaded Instagram. And I somehow came across all these fitness people, and it just inspired me to kind of want to be like that. I think probably for the right reasons at that point. I wanted to be happy and healthy again, because I was neither of those things. I was very sedentary and eating a load of crap. I just remember thinking, right, I'm going to go to Tesco's, I'm going to buy some decent food, and I'm going to cook myself a meal, which I hadn't done for so long. And that's what I did. And from there, I just started eating better, trying to eat more clean foods. as they are labelled. I wanted to start yoga, so I joined a Bikram yoga. It was like a trial. I did really enjoy it. It was very hard, especially coming from not doing any physical activity for 6 weeks. I really enjoyed it, but it was just a trial. I think it was like for 20 days for £20 or something like that, which isn't too bad, but monthly it comes to something ridiculous like £150 a month, and I just didn't want to spend that amount of money. So I started looking at gym memberships, and I joined a gym near Canary Wharf because it was a third of the price. From there, I started with a personal trainer who got me into lifting weights because he asked me what I wanted to achieve, and I said, I want a bigger bum. And he was like, weights is the way, which is true. So I started lifting weights with him once a week, and then I'd go to classes for my cardio. I guess from my dance background, I liked doing classes. I was a strict clean eater at the time of joining the gym, and that kind of led to me craving things, which is where we start going downhill again, because I would count my calories, but I would put them on far too low. So I think I went down to 1200 calories, which is just ridiculous. Like, it's, for me with a good metabolism and my size, I'm very small, I'm 5'3" at a push. It's just not, it's too little, and I was getting cravings. All I was thinking about was this food that I wanted, and I wasn't letting myself have it. And then in the end I'd be like, okay, I'd justify it to myself. I'd be like, I've been good for 2 days, I can have one bit of chocolate. Of course I can't have one bit of chocolate. I had to have the whole bar, and then a tub of ice cream, and then something else. It just led to that cycle again. So at this time as well, I was really fascinated by nutrition, so I did a lot of research. That's where I found Lane Norton. He's been a massive source of information for me. I watched his vlogs, I listened to Physique Science Radio, him, Ben Coomber, Alan Aragorn, all those people. I discovered them then. So it's not like I didn't have the knowledge, I just didn't have, I was shooting for the wrong goals, I think. I was wanting to get lean at the end of the day. I was doing it just because I wanted to look a certain way, and that didn't work for me. And I think that's the mistake that most people make when they do start their fitness journey, is that they do it because they want to look a certain way, and that will never be sustained. That's when the yo-yo dieting comes into it. That's where you get your binge restrict cycles. What changed for me? For a while, a good like 2 years, I was kind of trundling along, being fairly inconsistent with my training and my nutrition. Like, I probably wasn't eating enough for the most part, and also I felt ill. I had like a kidney infection at one part, which set me back months. Literally, I was wiped out. I was in hospital for a few days. So it took me a long time to get back into it after that, and I never really was very consistent after that, and I don't think I was eating enough, and I was binging. By this point, I was in a bit of a bad place again. I didn't acknowledge it at the time. It's when you're depressed, it's hard to know that you're depressed sometimes. Obviously there's loads of different degrees of it, and I would say mine was pretty mild. I've never been on any medication for it. But I would say I was depressed. I didn't do much during the day. I was still working shots, but not doing so much performing work, just because the auditions weren't coming in and I wasn't really doing that much about it. I'm sure I could have been more proactive. And also I was in a relationship that was pretty stagnant. I'm gonna say it was stagnant. That relationship broke down, and that's when I realised I'd hit rock bottom, and I needed, for me, at that point in my life, it was rock bottom. I know there's different degrees of that as well. And I knew that something had to change. Like, I didn't want to be unhappy anymore. I wanted to do something where I could grow as an individual. I'd been thinking about it for a while, about doing a PT course. So I took the plunge and I did it. I did the 6 weeks intensive course. I worked 2 jobs whilst doing it. So I was there from 9 to 5 and then working 2 jobs at the same time whilst looking after the little doggy by myself as well. It was a really stressful time, but it made me so much stronger. It gave me like a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment doing that. I felt better about myself because I did it. before it happened it seemed near impossible, and it was bloody stressful. The dog was playing up as well. Yeah, it was a really stressful time, but I got through it, and that just made me realise I can get through anything really. I know people have been in worse situations to me. I've been very lucky on the whole with my life, but for me that's like hands down the hardest period of my life. So whilst I was doing my PT course, I had to be organised, so I was doing all my meals and my macros because it was just easier to do that and more cost effective. If I was buying lunch out every day and tea, it would have added up to extortionate amounts. So I pre-prepared all my meals, and then obviously the course is fairly practical, so if we weren't doing practical stuff, like on my lunch break I'd go and train. I was around like-minded people, and I learnt a lot from those people as well as the course. I think what really changed for me during that period was that I completely fell in love with it again, and that's when I stopped giving a shit about what I looked like, and I started doing it for strength and performance-based goals. I wanted to be stronger and better at the things that I was doing in the gym, like deadlifting, squatting, chin-ups, pull-ups, all those things. I wanted to be strong, and I didn't care what I looked like, I just wanted to be strong. And from then everything has fallen into place for me, because I found that if I wasn't eating properly I wouldn't get a good training session in. So that kind of, because my training was so important to me, that made me then want to eat to fuel my body to then do the training. So I've been probably for the last year now 90% of the time tracking my macros, going for whole foods. That's what makes me feel mentally and physically better, and then having a little bit of what I fancy on the side as well. I think that giving myself that freedom with the diet and not restricting myself has really helped me to be consistent. Restriction, it's not sustainable in the long term. So this last year I've been working out of the gym as a personal trainer as well as online with my training. I started the year with a bulk, then not quite so controlled. It was okay. Bulk, and then I did a cut for about 3 to 4 months just before the summer, and now I'm back reverse dieting, and I want to put on some size. I'm doing hypertrophy training now. I was doing more strength training, now I'm hypertrophy. I'm aiming for some size, guys. So that is my fitness journey so far. I hope you've managed to get something out of it. Again, thank you so much for watching. Your support means a lot, and I just really hope that this video can inspire some of you